I have a ton of snail
Guys,
facts.
shut the fuck up. I need to hear the snail fact.
The world's deadliest snail that has directly killed people is the cone snail, which lives off the coast of Australia.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Their shells are cone-shaped.
So much more, maybe you.
And they
and the
inject,
spice
out of the end
for
of their shells, they inject poisonous
like
barbs
yours.
and
Wait, like it comes out
predators.
the
With
top?
those toys.
Yeah, out of the top of the shell. So like the reason why a lot of people die is because they'll like wade in an ocean and they'll step on what they think is a rock, but it's really a cone snail, and its neurotoxic poison is enough to kill full-sized adult humans.
Holy
and there's no known anti-venom for it either. Like basically once you're injected, you're kind of yeah.
Snail facts.
My favorite species of snail personally is called the Pangolan snail, and they live miles deep under the water and survive intense ocean pressure, and they live near hydrothermal vents that can reach hundreds and hundreds of degrees Celsius. They have some of the largest heart-to-body ratios of all living things.
What?
Imagine it this way:
So
if we had the same heart-to-body size ratio as a Pangolan snail, our hearts would be the size of an American football.
Oh my god!
I gotta go.
But also, the coolest thing about Pangolan snails is that they have scales made of iron.
Oh, what? What?
Iron?
Yeah, just iron. Yeah.
Damn.
Jesus.
Like, if you look up
scales.
But yeah, look up Pangolan snails on Google. They're kind of fucking sick.
Is it edible?
Well, it depends on the snail, and in fact, there's a long history. There's a very long history of snails and their place in the culinary world. Of course, when we talk about the subject of eating snails, we can't go without talking about the French, right?
Yeah.
And I think it presents a very interesting. The tradition of eating snails in France started from peasantry. They would eat garden snails because they were reasonably common, nutritious, easy to prepare. And of course, when you're broke and you're living off the land, you're farming, snails are pests anyway. It just made a ton of sense to eat them. But it wasn't until the Enlightenment era when arts of all sorts, including culinary arts, saw the legitimization of snails in a high-end culinary diet. The art of preparing escargot became then associated with the higher class, which is still to a degree true to this day. Snails, depending on the species, are edible. Typically, you'll see people eat European and North American terrestrial garden snails. The only danger posed by this is if you prepare them incorrectly, there can be certain bacterias and parasites that can leak into your system, but that's true of many foods. So long as you prepare them correctly, they're pretty safe and nutritious.
Wow.
Here's another snail fact.
Yes, please.
There's a common misconception that the difference between a snail and a slug is the lack of a shell on a slug, but that's actually just simply untrue. There are plenty of slugs with shells rather. They're just not external. A lot of slugs have shells internally that's used to maintain a sense of gravity and balance.
Essentially like bones.
Oh.
You can't really call it a skeleton or say that they're vertebrate. Like they're still decidedly invertebrates and without a skeleton. It's just that they have a tiny shell on the inside of their bodies. Not every slug does. There are some slugs that don't have shells just entirely, but about 80% of slugs have some sort of shell. Just
you prefer your slug with or without the bone?
With or without the shell.
I ordered some boneless slugs, man.
I suppose you don't want another snail fact, do you?
Why would I
Oh,
say
I want
no?
it.
This is rad.